Good morning. Today is the 2nd of October 2024 and I'm going to go through my plan for today, watch list, and as always before we start let's look to see what news could be changing the market. Got a lot of Fed speaking today, 9 o'clock, 10:05, oil news at 10:30. If you're in oil stocks, keep an eye on that. More Fed speaking as well, 11, 11:30 and 12:15. So not massive news, but enough which could move the market. On my screen we're looking at the ES, and this is the 1 hour time frame, and I'm just getting my pen ready. So I've got a few good levels, not amazing areas, but there's only one area I'm really watching for today, and that's this area where we've got the volume control, point of control coming right through. Got my alerts in place, that white line is my alert. So if we come back up into this region, 57.70, 57.75, I'm going to be looking for it to hold and reject, and I'll be looking for an entry coming back down. Do I want to take it long? If we can get above yesterday's high and we come back and we close above this 200 moving average, this is the hourly 200 moving average, the purple line, and only if it holds yesterday's high, then I may look for a long entry, and we've got a bit of a shift up. Just to recap the last couple of days, so we had end of September, which is end of a quarter. We can see we put in this move, put in a new high, an all-time high, and yesterday we were looking at this head and shoulders pattern. In fact, I didn't mention it in the video, but I was watching that thinking, oh, that looks like a good head and shoulders pattern, and then look what happened. So it would have definitely paid off. I did watch it break down, but I couldn't find an entry. It didn't come back and retest the neckline at all, so I would have missed that anyway. What have we got here? We've got a bit of a descending wedge pattern, and we could watch for a potential scalp above pre-market high above, but the other area I'm really watching for is this 57.32, and this is the key area I'm really watching for a breakdown. It can go one of two ways. We can come back down like we did here, 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 and hold it and bounce. See a big move up, or the market could clean up these orders. There's obviously going to be liquidity around these areas, so we might see the market come up, reclaim that area and push up for the bounce. But if we do lose it, then I'm going to look for the break and retest of yesterday's low, which is 57.32. Zoom out a bit, let's take a look and see where we are on the bigger picture. Area of was support, was supply, and now it's become demand. So we've got this area of demand in this area as well. So with these bottom tails, we can expect, or we'd like to think, the market was going to come back down and reclaim any orders back down there, and then make a decision, either push up or break down. So that's the area. So these are the two areas I'm really watching. This region here where the point of control is for a rejection, this region here for a potential bounce, but also a break and retest short. If we lose this area, 57.32, 57.45, that area, then the only other bounce I can see is off of this area of previous support. We've got a bit of volume coming out, a bit of a volume shelf, and if I zoom out a bit, more importantly, we have this trend line, and it all seems to be aligning up in that same area. So this is the area to watch. Point of control as well, on the bigger picture, and a big area of confidence, tops and bottoms of pivots there. So look at how many touches we've got of this point of control area. So it's definitely an area to watch for a bounce. So that's the area I'm watching. 56, I've got 56.79, 56.70 area for a bounce. And don't forget we have 5700, which is a psychological number, probably right where that point of control is. So to recap, ES, I'm watching for two main areas. This region here, 57.77, for a rejection. I'm watching the lows of yesterday for a bounce, and I'll consider a break and retest short, hopefully for us to fill this region in up down to this point of control. And then I'm watching 56.79, 56.80 for a bounce off of this trend line. I really want to wait for confirmation rather than just take it as coming in, because I've been stung a few times this week by just getting in without waiting for confirmation. And so what I'll be looking for it to come in, potentially like this one, come back and retest it. I know this is on the hourly, so that's over a period of a few days, but I'll be looking for something similar on the 5-minute chart. I trade the 2-minute chart, but I think the market as it is, all these false signals, look how messy this is. Bottom tails. This is on the hourly, so the 2-minute's going to be even worse. So quite a messy chart on the 2 minutes, lots of bottom tails. So I'm going to probably just focus on the 5-minute for a bit more as well, and just see how that cleans it up a little tiny bit. So 57.33, so that is the lows of yesterday, so that's the key area. I've got my alert in place, 2 alerts, they're the 2 areas. I'm not going to do anything until we get into those areas. One more thing, let's take a look at the daily, because I've just seen a big volume spike. Yeah, so look at this. So we had last few days we were selling off a bit with increase in volume as well. And we had a big volume spike yesterday. So that is selling intent from the hedge funds. Like I said, I think I watched a video earlier actually talking about end of quarters, and typically at an end of a quarter to get good reporting, generally see the market push up into that region. I lost my pen. Kind of push up for the end of quarter, and then that's where the reports are created, and then just sell off. So potentially that's what we saw here. And obviously we've got election month coming up, and October is generally a red month as well. So potentially we could start be looking for a bit of a pullback. If we do pull back, like I said, we're watching this 56.80 area for a bounce. Where else on the daily? There's a few key areas on the daily. That's a key area there. Let's just mark them off. This area is a key area, 56.61. That's pretty much in the area we're watching for the bounce, maybe a little bit below. And then another key area is this region here. Maybe a little bit lower. You can probably bring that down up to that region there, and you can see the confluence. Tops are pivots, bottoms are pivots. Close to those bottoms, but definitely those pivots there. So these are the key areas we can watch for on the daily. So we can use this as maybe swing plays, bounces. I'm also quite interested in taking a short swing trade. Maybe we can get back up and retest that region, put in a new lower high, then I may look for a bit of a short as well. But that's basically what I'm watching for on ES today. Let's just quickly flick over to the order flow. We'll do a slightly different order today, and we go over the other levels. So order flow, got 2 screens I really pay attention to. This one is the footprint, and this one is the cumulative delta divergence. You can see a little bit of divergence right now. Let's just draw. As you can see, we're drawing. Price is increasing, but we're seeing more and more aggressive selling. So there's a bit of a cumulative delta divergence. And what does that mean? That means we've got increase in price. That means there's a lack of participation down at these lower price areas. So it doesn't look like it wants to sell off anymore, and potentially we could see a bit of a bounce. But it's pre-market volume, so I generally don't pay too much attention in the pre-market, but it normally gives an idea how the market could open. And then there's nothing really on the filtered 30-minute. We do have an area here where there's quite a few orders sitting. Well, we have previous big orders sitting there. The yellow indicates that, and we're rejecting it. And I do pay attention to the red lines as well, because these are limit orders waiting, and the thicker the line, the bigger the order. There's no big orders, so there's nothing really of real interest at the moment. Okay, let's just flick back to the SPY, back to my main screen. I'll keep an eye on order flow. If anything changes, then I'll flick back to it. So next up is SPY. There's a few decent levels on SPY as well today. Pretty much similar to ES. We've got this region. Oh, that's a bit of a thick line. So we've got this region here. Where's that? 569, 570. We can potentially watch that area for a rejection. And this trend line area again, and let's just zoom out a bit so you can see the bigger picture. You can see this big area of which was resistance and it's become the demand, so, or the supply area. So we've got a big bounce area. We can watch this area for a bounce, and that's it. You can see area confidence just here as well. Lots of touches of pivots, bottoms of candles, tops of candles, and they're the two main areas I'm watching today on SPY. Again, I'll take it on ES, SPX levels, pretty much as they were yesterday. We've got this area confidence, 57.33. That's yesterday's low, and look at that, levels came right into these levels. In fact, I noticed on the ES yesterday, a level I marked out. I was done trading by then because I had a losing day yesterday. But look at that, I had that level marked out yesterday, 57.32.50, and look where that pivot came down to, 57.32.50, right on the dot. And that was based on these pivots here, tops of that one, bottoms of that one, and I've not adjusted them at all. All I've done today, I've added an alert in if we get back down there again, but we came right into it, and had you had orders waiting down there, it would have been a decent day, because that was a big push back up, and your stock could have been just below, and there would have been hardly any drawdown on that. Again, finding confirmation is the hardest point, but that level was one confirmation, and I'm sure if we go drill down into the 5 minute, let's have a quick look. Look at that. So it would have been a difficult one to take. We got close there, we came, look at that, right into that level. But what we could have watched for is a retest of this area, and then look for the first RBI. Or if we missed that one, we got a second RBI, and we could have easily made 2 or 3R from that trade on this push back up. But I stopped trading by that point, and I did see that come in. I had a couple of losses coming down and trying to go long. I think I went long there, and I overtraded a bit. I even went short, and at some point I managed to, I think I got stopped out there on a short as well, as I came back down. I broke down through there, came back, stopped, and it carried on. Would have been okay. But yeah, so there's definitely having levels in place, and if you're strict and patient, then, unlike I was yesterday, then you can definitely trade off of them. So let's go back to SPX, just confirm levels, and I'll only use the SPX levels as confirmation. So if I'm looking for a long on ES and we're above an area, then that will give me confirmation. But if we were below an area, and I think it might come back into resistance, then it'd be hard trying to go long on ES. Next up is NQ. Let's go back into the hourly. Bigger picture. Yes, I do quite like a rejection on NQ around, there's 2 areas I quite like. I like this region, 20,189, and I particularly like this area as well. Yesterday's high area, 20,054. You could say 20,000, which is a psychological number as well. So keep an eye on that for rejection. And then if we lose pre-market low, I'm not a big fan. I think we've got this region here with a bit of volume, the point of controls in that area as well for these last couple of weeks. And we could watch this area 19,700 for a bounce off of that point of control. And if we lose that area, we've got this big void below, and then the next bit of volume doesn't come in until we get to where these trend lines are. So we could watch 2 areas. 19,700 can also be a bounce, it can also be a break and retest short. QQQ, and you could also say, and now I'll say it on the Qs as well, you know, we are potentially looking at a bit of a flag as well. So we could probably watch for a break and retest of yesterday's low, pre-market low, and that's both on NQ and QQQ. So watching that for a breakdown area of confluence. It's hard to go long, short above this area, pre-market area. That's why if we do break down, once it come back and pull back into that region, look at this, we've got bottoms of pivots, tops of pivots, tops of pivots, big volume shelf and point of control as well, so it's really hard to go short in this region. So we've got to really look for longs around 475.11 for a bounce. You could even consider 478 for a bounce as well. And then I do like this area for rejection of 483.10. Big area of confidence, we've got tops of candles, we've got volume shelf there as well, and we've got confluence. So 483.10, I've got an alert in place because I will try and find a short. I might even try and get a swing or overnight short on that. Crude oil next. Look at that, with big sell-off yesterday, a few days ago, last week, and then we've reclaimed all of that area there. So looking pretty bullish today. Let's just zoom out and see what the bigger picture is. So if we can get above, break and retest pre-market, I do quite like it for a long. Probably the trend lines are invalid now. I might just tidy up the charts later. Point of control could be a target, 50, 74, 57, and that can also act as a rejection area, so we could potentially watch 76 down to 75 as a rejection. Quite a few pivots there as well, and I think that's not the biggest fan of this chart. We are, as you can see, we are still in a bit of a downtrend, but we are putting in a new higher low. So this could show that there's a potential bottom in place. Just keep an eye on this. Break and retest pre-market high, long. If we don't hold yesterday's high, we can watch for a short back down. Gold. Glorious gold. Okay, so what I'm seeing here, let's go to the daily. See that. Big uptrend, as you know, for the last, well, I've been in a massive uptrend for all this year. Pull back on reduced volume. Let's notice a reducing volume on the daily, and then above average volume, showing a pretty bullish signal. If we can get above yesterday's high, we can watch for a break and retest into new all-time highs. No massive volume spikes showing the end of trend. So according to the volume, it looks like we're still in track to keep going. If we can get back down to this region, 26.20, and that's also the 20 moving average, or even better still, down into this region, we can watch for a bounce. Hard to go long when we're up in all-time highs as well, so a break and retest of yesterday's high. Let's go back to the hourly and see what hourly looks like. Yeah, you can probably do a break and retest of the pre-market high as well, but treat that as a higher risk and a scalp going in with a target yesterday's high and target of previous day's highs as well from last week. RTY, it's broken this area of confluence. Let's just mark that in. You can see tops of pivots, bottoms of pivots. Let's make it get a bit more accurate. It's broken it, retested it, broken it, retested it, and now we're coming back up. So I quite like the retest of this area again in the pre-market high, especially if the 50 moving average meets up with it as well. So 22.18 rejection, or to continue this, not really much of a trend down, but we have been trending down for the past couple of weeks. I do quite like the break and retest of pre-market low short, but looking at the bigger picture, yeah, I like the rejection where the point of control is currently 22.40. So if we do get back up into this region, I quite like the rejection round there, purely because we've got the volume and we've got area of confidence where you can see tops of candles there, tops of candles, lots of bodies of candles in that area, and a big volume. If we lose yesterday's low and pre-market low, then we've got a potential. Is this an area? I'll have to look on the daily in a second. But we could see quite a big move back down into this region. That's where the volume starts coming back again. So this region here, we've got a little bit of volume in that void. Let's look at the daily. See, like, I'm not the biggest fan of this chart. So daily, we're putting in higher high, higher low, and then we kind of not put in. So we are putting in this pattern here, but potentially we could look for the break and retest to continue the trend, which we might be seeing right now. If you look at that, it's not the straightest lines. There you go, that's a better line. And we are retesting that trend line. It's not a very great trend line, but it gives you a rough idea. So potentially we're at a bounce area right now. We've got this pivot. I do quite like this actually for a bounce. If we can get back down to 2185, down to even 2200, which we're not far off, we can watch out for a bounce. So let's keep an eye on that. And then lastly, YM, which is the Dow Jones. Again, this is the daily. Bit of a negative. Look at that. We've got above average selling candle and a smaller candle with a bottom tail showing the first signs of weakness. We've had topping tails, and then at one point that was all red, and now it's come back up to form a bottom tail candle, but it's the first sign of weakness. However, if we get back down into that region, 42,000, I quite like it for the bounce. Let's go back to the hourly. So this region here, 42,000 for the bounce. That's based on this area of resistance, this area of was resistance, and now it's hopefully going to become support. 42,000 bounce, and if we lose that area, we can watch round back down to 41,000 for the bounce as well. We are below the 200 moving average, so we could potentially look for a short. The 50s breaking down through the 200 as well. Yeah, so let's keep an eye on yesterday's high for rejection, 42,666. And then finally Bitcoin. Let's go to the daily. I need to add another one of these in actually, because I did actually take some profit as we got to there. So Bitcoin, I think my profit was basically taken out what I added here. So it's a slight profit, but I really want to add when it comes back down to this region or this region. And we're coming into big sell-off today. I do quite like this area for a bounce, so that's 58,000. I'm going to add what I took out here back down here, maybe 50% of it, and the other 50% if we get back down to that point. But there's not much more on Bitcoin I like at the moment. We're still holding this channel, and I won't go through it again, but it's a big cup and handle pattern. So we've got this shape coming in, and then the handle. So it's a very bullish pattern, but it's not ready to break out yet. As you can see, it's hitting the channel, and eventually it's either going to pick a direction, it's either going to break down, or it's going to come back up. So if it breaks down, that's great, because we've got some areas to watch for ads. 40,000, 50,000, 30,000. If it stays in this region, I'm just going to keep topping up every time we get down to the bottom area here. Okay, that's it. ES. It's looking a little bit weaker today. Order flow is looking, okay, so nothing different. So there's not much really to talk about now. Okay, thank you for watching. Trade safe. The order flow will be live on my other channel, on my other stream, which is live right now, and that'll be live till the market closes. And I will be back tomorrow at 9 AM Eastern time. Thanks for watching.